Okay guys, so this is how I make my brown bread, and I'm just going to go through the ingredients here. Starting over here, I've been using a guava, or you could use honey, and there's a little over a pint in there. I like the color and I like the flavor of the guava, but honey will do just as well, or treacle if you can get live treacle. You could supplement maybe brown sugar as well for that. Next thing, of course, is some salt. We have our buttermilk here, or sour milk, something to get the baking powder activated. And then we have our flours. This is a whole wheat flour, whole wheat bread flour, but it's not very rough. I like it a bit rougher. So what I do is I blend in my bran here. So I have 5 pounds or so of whole wheat flour, and then I have about 1.5 pounds of bran. I just mixed them together, and then I have my baking powder, or you can use baking soda. Okay. So now we start. I have my big bowl here. Sorry for the shaking. And we will add in the dry ingredients. So we have the flour. And we just throw the bran in on top. Now the salt, it's approximates, okay? So now we're talking about the salt. So I'm putting in, it's quite a bit of salt. It's about 5 tablespoons of salt or so. And I'm kind of doing a little bit so I know where I am. I've already put a bit in there. Okay, then I'm going to add in my baking powder. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, of course, next thing to do is to put it on our mixer. Okay, so I'm mixing all the dry ingredients together. You can do this simply by hand too. But we'll put it in there, make sure everything is well mixed before I add in anything else. So we have our flour, our baking powder, and our salt in there. Now I'm just going to add in my honey, or my guava, or treacle. I just want again to have that well mixed, well blended in there. Now it's still going to be very, very dry because there's nowhere near enough liquid going in at this stage. So when that is mixed up, my next thing would be, sorry about this, my buttermilk. Now it's not always the same amount. Anyone who's been making bread and stuff kind of figures that out. It tends to change a little bit day to day, or how wet or how dry you want it. If I'm going to cook these in loaf pans today, so I can do it a little bit wetter than if I was going to make an actual round loaf like the old-fashioned loaves. I would make it a slightly bit drier. Okay, so that looks like that's well mixed there. And I just simply pour in my buttermilk. Try and get the other one open here. Okay, I'm going to add a bit more in here. Get it nice and moist. I don't want to overmix this because then it'll just make it tough. So the key is mixing as quick as possible. And again, I want to have this kind of fairly damp today because I'm using the loaf pans. I find loaf pans are easier if I want to slice it quickly and have it staff and stuff. although it doesn't look as good as the big rolls or rounds. Okay, now next stage is to put it into my pans here. So I have my brown bread mix in there, my pans, and my stove. My oven is up at about 385. I find 390 in this particular oven. It's just an ordinary household oven. I haven't got much space here. So I'm just going to scoop it in, and first off I'll just grease my trays up so that obviously the bread's not going to stick in there. Right, now I have my pans all filled here. I think I got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of that. My next thing is just to make the marks so that when they rise they don't just burst all over the place. So I just take a knife and a little bit of milk. You could use some water too, or just something just to do it. And you'll notice this mix is quite soft. If you're doing the old-fashioned formed loaf, you just put a cross on it, and then you have to ask yourself what you want the top to be like. You could take some regular flour and sprinkle them on top, and it'll kind of give it a nice look. Or you can brush them with some egg, or not egg brush, but just milk, or even water will do, and it will give you a little bit of a shine to them if you want a nice shine. I'm just sprinkling a little bit of flour on the top here, just lightly. Now I don't really mind because I'm going to be slicing this anyway, so people are not going to see the whole loaves. And then they go into the oven, and they're going to go into an oven that, I said, a hot oven. In case it's going to be about 380 or 385, 390, somewhere around there. I'm going to give them for about an hour. I'll change them around the top and the bottom, of course, probably about halfway into that. And so I've got those ones in there. Put 6 in, and I'll throw the other 3 in the other oven. And it just takes about an hour. Okay, well, my bread's out of the oven. Turned them all out. I got my 9 of them here. One way to know if they're cooked, you just turn them over, and they should have kind of a hollow feel to them, or noise to them. Let them cook whole before you cut them. They're a lot easier to cut when they're cooler. You get more out of the loaf. And one little change, when I said about the salt, when I cut back the salt maybe to about 4 tablespoons, I kind of just throw it in my hand and put it in. I was thinking of it afterwards. So otherwise, good luck. If you've got any questions, you know how to catch me, and take it easy.